what? There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. He's ready to go. We're in the huddle. How you feeling, Matt? You feeling good?
I'm feeling good. How are you?
Exceptional. Love your idea on highlighting the 16-yard line for Len Dawson. Rest in peace. That's pretty cool. I like that. I like that. That would be a really cool idea if they would pull something off like that. I mean, you got to do something for him, right? I mean, it's freaking Len Dawson.
You do have to. He is a legend. He is an icon. He is the Chiefs. He has been for the better part of their existence. I mean, he got there in 1962 and they were the Dallas Texans and then won a Super Bowl and got to another one. And they won 3 AFL titles with him. And then he was the broadcaster from 85 through 2017. You could argue, along with Lamar Hunt, he's the most recognizable face with the Chiefs. So I think, look, they used to paint their field when they were in Municipal Stadium in a very famous way. In fact, their groundskeeper ended up becoming the sod god who does all the Super Bowls, George Toma. They used to paint the sideline hash marks red and yellow. So I thought it would be a cool gesture if they painted those 16-yard hash marks on the sideline, if they painted them red and yellow like they used to.
Exactly. And they should put an arrow with a 16 on that right there, just in honor of Len Dawson. That's what they should do. And you know what's interesting that I thought about this? Because I'm a little bit of a historian. And so I know a lot about Lenny Dawson's career. And it's interesting because Lenny Dawson's career is kind of repeating here with the Miami Dolphins right now. Now I threw you for a curve, didn't I?
You did. I need to hear more before I can agree or disagree with that sentiment.
60 years ago, Hank Stram calls a coach by the name of Paul Brown, says, "Hey, you're not doing anything with your third quarterback, Len Dawson."
Correct.
And Paul Brown says, "Hank, Lenny, I think, has lost it. And, if you want, I'll make this trade, but if you want to, but I'm telling you, this might cost you your job."
It's true.
Basically, Paul Brown told him that. And you're a Kansas City guy. You know what I'm talking about.
I do. You're right.
So Hank Stram believed in Len Dawson. Now I think you're following me now. And so the rest is history. Well, for the last 2 years, Tua Tagovailoa had to deal with a coach that couldn't stand him, didn't want him, thought he could actually win with Jacoby Brissett instead of him. Meanwhile, in the 2 years, the only quarterback that had a winning record was not Ryan Fitzpatrick, was not Jacoby Brissett. It was Tua Tagovailoa. But Tua Tagovailoa never felt comfortable here. Why? Because the coach never wanted you. He wanted Jordan Love, not you. And so now in comes Mike McDaniel, a.k.a. Hank Stram. And he's the guy that believes in Tua. And he's the guy that's building the offense around Tua. And while others tell you that he can't play, he feels he can play in his system. And by the way, Len Dawson was not a great athlete, did not have a rocket for an arm. You know what I mean? Like a lot of quarterbacks in this league have had tons of success, whether it's Bob Greasy or Drew Brees or Joe Montana or whatever, that they weren't 6'5". They didn't have arms that they could throw it out of the stadium, but they were smart and they were put in the right system. And that's always so important. And it's interesting that on a day when we lose Len Dawson, if you know the history of Len Dawson, there's a lot of similarities of what's going on with Mike McDaniel and Tua and what he had to deal with, just like what Len Dawson had to deal with throughout his career and trying to find his way.
That was a very, very well thought out argument. I think it's early. I think it's very early.
But I'm just talking about the belief factor. All I'm saying is Mike McDaniel is Hank Stram right now. That's all I'm saying. He's saying, that's my guy. Okay. Oh, well, Paul Brown, you tell me he's not? Fine. I want him. I believe in Len Dawson. And I'm just saying, that's what Mike McDaniel is doing. I believe in Tua. And I believe that the system he has now is actually exactly what he needs in order to succeed. But we'll find out. Of course, it's early, But I'm just saying the similarities are there. That's all I'm
Well,
saying.
here's what I would say. Tua has an opportunity, and he's going to have to take advantage of it, because if he doesn't take advantage of it, there's a very good chance that he's changing zip codes fairly soon. So they need to get the
Amen.
job done. Dawson in his first year with the Dallas Texans, the Dallas Texans, they won. They won the AFL championship. Now, I'm not saying Tua's got to win the title.
No.
Okay, that's beyond the pale. They're going to make the playoffs. They got to win 10-plus games. They need to be impactful and be playing meaningful football in December and January. And if they are, then I think even if his stats aren't overwhelming, then I think he's fine. Now, if they're better than that and they're pushing for the division and everything else, and obviously things went great and you're really happy, it's going to be a really good challenge, because this is a conference that obviously, it's been talked about ad nauseum, is loaded. It is a very, very, very good conference. And you're going to have teams in the AFC that I think you can make a case for as the fourth best team in the NFC that don't make the playoffs. I mean, you're going to have some team out there that walks away after week 18 going, we didn't get in the playoffs? How is that possible? The AFC is an animal
Yes.
that is unlike the NFC. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that shakes. Like, there aren't a lot of teams in the AFC that I look at and think that team's terrible. There are a few. I don't think the Jets are particularly good. Houston's obviously in a full-blown rebuild. That's probably it. Like, I don't think anybody else, even Jacksonville, I don't think Jacksonville's terrible. The NFC, there's a good 6 teams in the NFC that are awful. That if you play them, you are any kind of decent, you should win the game.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you there. No doubt about that. By the way, your boy had a field day today. He slayed Darius all day long. Poor guy twisted up an ankle on the first deep ball.
Listen, anybody who tries to guard him one-on-one is cooked. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Jalen Ramsey, anybody. The only way that teams have ever guarded him with any kind of success is usually physicality at the line and then somebody helping over the top. I mean, that has typically been, that's what New England used to do with him. They would just maul him at the line of scrimmage, maul him, and basically say to the officiating crew, look, I don't care. Throw a flag, call holding. You're not going to do it on every play. Call legal contact. We're going to just mug him up and down the field, and we're going to roll a safety. If you're not willing to do that, I remember last year, the Chiefs, every single team they faced, too high. Then they played the Raiders. And the Raiders decided, we're going to play single high safety the entire game. And the Chiefs went nuts and scored, I think it was 43 points. And then a couple weeks later, they saw him again. And somehow the Raiders did the exact same thing. And this time they scored 47 points.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if they have good cover safeties on that team. Seriously, now that I think about it, I don't think they have good cover safeties on that team.
Raiders?
Yeah.
No, God, no. No, it was a trick. It was one of those things that about by the middle of the second quarter, you were like, what are they doing? They have no chance to guard this team. But they, under Gus Bradley, they play that cover 3. They're going to sit in the cover 3, and that's the way they play. And it was like a couple of years ago when the Jets were really, really god awful, and they went to Arrowhead, and Greg Williams decided that he was like, I don't care. We're going to blitz him the whole game. Like, okay. And you go back and look at the number. They're ridiculous. He was like 34 of 38 or something. I mean, it was just, if you are going to play them, the Dolphins, that is, this year, you're going to have to play with a safety over the top of Hill. And if you don't, on any play he's one-on-one, that's where the ball should go. Any play, because you'll win 90% of the time.
I'm with you there. The problem is playing deep safety, and you have Tyreek on one side and Waddle on the other. That's you have to commit to one, and then that's it. So then Waddle's going to be playing the second best corner. How many second best corners in the league are going to have his speed?
No, of course.
So it's that's where Tua, all he has to do is look left, move safety over 6 feet, and go right. And that's it. Or go right, move safety over just 6 feet, and go left. It's over. Once you commit one way, you're not going to make it to the other side with those guys. And let me tell you something. Cedric Wilson is going to be one of the sleepers on this offense. He's faster than what I thought. He's a big slot guy, which was really smart on their part. With a short quarterback, get big people in the middle besides Gesicki or whoever is the tight end. That's a big target. But you get him a big slot, which is really, really smart on their part. But that guy can move. He can get behind defenses. So I'm impressed with that. That's the thing. I think he gave Tua so many options. Tua only had one option last year, Waddle. Everybody else was injured or whatever, and now he has. Yeah, I'm talking about receivers. Like,
okay,
he didn't
sure.
nobody
outside,
else.
Yes.
No. Gesicki, dude. Flo didn't even use Gesicki. Go look at it. Durham Smythe had more snaps. They didn't even play Gesicki enough last year. Think about that. Think about that. Your receivers are mostly injured. Waddle's the only guy out there, and you are not using your playmaking tight end as much. That's the kind of offense they had last year. It was baffling to me. All right, let's wrap it up with this.
Yep.
Give me one team you think is going to surprise people in the NFL, and give me one team you feel is going to disappoint people who think they were going to be good. Do you have that yet in your mind?
I do. I think for a team that'll pleasantly surprise, I think the Saints are going to be a lot better than people think they are.
Oh, so you're believing in Winston? You're believing in Winston then?
So here's what I believe in with them. I believe in the fact that they have a very talented roster. That is a very good team. They were a team to start at the Dolphins with receiving issues. I mean, they only had really Kamara when he was healthy as the back, who was pretty much the best receiver. They had nobody last year who could catch a pass. Now they have Blvd, they have Landry, Thomas comes back, Kamara's there. They have a good offensive line. I like Penning. I know Armstead is obviously now Miami. Penning comes in as the first-round pick. Defensively, they're really good.
I just wish Peyton would have stayed because Winston was turning the corner. I think it was 17-3 or something something. Go look at his touchdown interception ratio. It's freaking awesome.
He was playing well. I mean, look, my concerns with them are Winston will regress and throw 25 picks. And Dennis Allen, as the head coach of the Raiders, was an absolute disaster. Now, the reason I'm willing to overlook that a little is it was the Raiders at the peak of their dysfunction. Like, I don't know that Vince Lombardi could have gone in there and won games. That team was insane, and they were talentless. So I like that Allen at least is a guy who, like, that he knows the team. He's been there. He's been there for years. Like, I think in a lot of ways he'll let the offensive staff run the offense. Yeah. So I'm okay with it. I think the Saints are good. I think the Saints are a playoff caliber team. I like the moves they've made. On the other side, like, you look at a team and go, all right, who's going to disappoint? Maybe I'm off on this. I'm going to take a team out of the AFC West based on the fact that I just don't think all four of those teams can be as good as people think they're going to be. Like, one of those teams is going to get beat up by the other three.
You're right.
My pick for that is the Raiders. I just think they don't have a defense outside of Crosby and Jones. And in that division, like, if you can't cover, you're dead. You are just dead. I mean, those teams are going to unload on you for 4 quarters. I think Carr's going to have a really good year. I love their weapons. I don't love that Waller's basically been out the entire summer, and they can't seem to figure out when he's coming back. I don't love that. The other thing that scares me with them, their offensive line is not good. And that's it. Again, in that division, look at all the pass rushers you have on all the other teams. I mean, you've got Bosa and Mack. You've got Gregory and Chubb. You've got Jones and Clark and Karlaftis and Dunlap. Like, it is just, if you cannot protect and you can't cover in that division, you are going to get lit up. And I think the Raiders could be 8-9 and be like a 4 seed in the NFC. But I just think in that division, they're going to have a really hard time.
All right, well, tell them about Stacking the Box there and Fansided, my brother.
Always. So Stacking the Box, you can check it out live, noon Eastern on Tuesdays on YouTube. You can also just subscribe to it anywhere that you find your podcast, through Apple, Spotify, Google Play, you name it. And then during the season, Sundays, if you don't like the pregame shows, if you get bored with them, you can go to the channel again on YouTube. We will be live from noon Eastern right to kickoff, breaking down all the games from noon to 1 Eastern, and lead you right into kickoff. So hopefully some of you out there enjoy it and subscribe to it. We have a lot of fun on the channel, and I hope you'll join us.
Support my guy, Matt Verderame, and you can catch him every week here stepping into the huddle with redrecover.com. Matt, as always, I appreciate you, my friend. We'll catch up next week. Enjoy the football.
Sounds good. Take care.
You got it. We step out of the huddle.